Thank you, Tom, for the introduction. We've learnt the last 2 days the parallels between the creative arts and innovation. I'm going to try and explain to you now how music is also part of that. We heard from David Speed and graffiti and how the parallels there. He had some wonderful quotes which I've written down and I'll get them out later. And we learned from Teflon Sega, another inspirational talk about the music industry. So what does a symphonic orchestra have to do with corporate open innovation? So before we go there, I'd like to have some interaction with you. So first of all, how many of the people here are innovators? Okay, some people are still in the wrong conference. How many of you are musicians? Excellent, so there are less people showing their hands. And how many of you are viola players? No, there's normally one, but today we're lucky, so I can let loose on the viola jokes. So the corporate innovation and symphonic orchestra, have you got any ideas on what the parallels are? Are there any similarities which come to mind between these two perceived different things? Alex has got one in his mind.
You need to work together with a leader to make good noise.
Fantastic. You need to work together. That's an essential part. Any other suggestions on different expertise? You're giving my talk for me, thank you. Any more that come to light? Any viola jokes? Yeah?
Even the triangle is important.
Even the viola is important, was what I was going to say. But yes, even the triangle, the percussion is important. There was one more. Listening to each other. Where did that come from? Thank you. And
the score is something that everyone agrees on and pulls the thing together.
The score is something that everyone agrees on and pulls the thing together. That's exactly right. So the parallels for me between an orchestra and a corporate innovation program, everybody needs to read from a score that's already written. You need to work together as a team because every instrument or every person is important. And teams are made up of people with individual expert that has come from years and years of training. David Speed said if you do something multiple times, you can get better at it. Music is the same. I wasn't born a musician or with any talent in music. I got to where I am in music today because I practiced. I went and did the same thing multiple times. And there's also another very important point with the parallels is you need to work from the same score, you need to work together, you need to listen to each other, and you need to have that objective to build a program together. So you go to a concert to watch 2 hours of music from musicians that have practiced before, they've built a program, and then there's a set period of time from which you can see that program, which gives you that call to action, that limited resource, that limited time period to go and watch it. So that's, for me, the introduction on why these things are different. So my name's Simon, I work at Crop Science. I learned yesterday that acronyms are wonderful if they're explained. So I'll just give you a few things about what we do at Crop Science. There's a couple of, well, there's one number in there that's important. So it's a big business across multiple countries. What we sell is chemistry, genetics, and data, to simplify. And we are very R&D heavy. So of the net sales each year, which are probably on the slide, you can see the investment in R&D, which is around 12%. What's important from this slide, and the number I want you to remember is the 7,000. So inside Crop Science R&D, there are 7,000 researchers trying to develop new products. Our average time to market is 10 to 12 years. A new product costs in the region of $300 to $400 million. And in my role and the team, as an innovation manager, our role is to find new technologies to accelerate this R&D program, this R&D process for the 7,000 researchers that we have. And we're 45 people. We're split into 3 sort of different functions to help these researchers access external technologies. The first one is the scouting part, where we do active and passive scouting. We go out there and look for new technologies. We help our experts define the problems that they have, so we know what to look for. There's another team whose sole existence is to support us they're not here in the room so I can say it this way, is to support us with developing the relationship, developing that partnership. About 1/3 of the people work there, helping us draw up contracts, helping us make sure that we've got everything in place in the framework in order to do a partnership. We do a lot of proof of concepts. So we want to test the technology to see, does it do what it says in the tin? And then the last third, the team is solely there to maintain all of our existing partnerships. We sign over 100 a year, and there's a lot of work which goes on after we've signed in order to maintain, make sure milestones are met and payments are being done. So that's how we're structured, and also a little bit about my role in terms of finding new technologies for these 7,000 researchers that I spoke about. So when we were building our new open innovation program maybe 4 years ago, it was just after the acquisition of a small American startup, and we brought the US and the German cultures together. And one thing that we wanted to be sure was that we didn't build a program to play to an empty theatre. We wanted to build open innovation programs that added value to our target customers, our target audience, and where people were engaged and willing to participate. So we wanted to make sure that we had the attention of the audience. We wanted to make sure that people saw why we were doing what we were doing, and of course the most important thing, what's in it for them. And we spent a lot of time working on that. And I'm going to go through in the next slides. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we built. I'm going to talk a little bit about what worked, and probably more interesting for some of you here, what didn't work and what we learnt from that process. We built the innovation program mainly around the 3 pillars. The first one being our programs, the second one being our outreach, and the third one is a really important point for me. It's really around dialogue. There is no point to innovate if you can't explain to society why that innovation is of value or safe, or what the benefit it is it brings to you every day. So I'll touch on that topic at the end. Great. The first rollout we did, the first program we've been running this for a few years now. We call these Grants4Ag, Grants4Ag. There's a QR code on the slide. Please snap it. It will take you to our partner's site called Halo. All of the details there. Rough overview of what this is. We're targeting universities and small startups. We're working on a hypothesis-based approach. So we're asking a question. What is the next sustainable innovation in agriculture as an example? We're asking people to submit hypotheses, and we're giving an award out for that. We're giving around 10,000 to 15,000 euros to help test that hypothesis in a laboratory setting to see if it works or not. We've run this for a few years. One of the most interesting parts for me for this program is that any IP that is generated with the money that's given remains in the possession of the partner. So we're not looking for any IP in this. We're looking really to generate new ideas, advance science, and very importantly, we're looking to build relationships with key universities, key startups in a certain area. And so we run this program multiple times a year, depending on the needs from our experts. We have something which we joke about a lot at work is the 267-line list of the needs of all the functions. So we work through these 267 lines, and we put the challenges out in a timely way, depending on the priorities from our experts. And this is an important thing to mention as well. In how we work with our experts have the checkbooks. The innovation team has little or no budget, and it's the experts that make the decision on which technologies to test. It's the experts which make the decision on which awards and who to award them to. The experts are in the driving seats, and we're there to catalyze that discussion and enable these technologies to come in. So after running the programs for a few years, what did we learn? Well, we wanted to play to an enormous stadium. We wanted to have these very broad challenges. I was speaking to Amy last night, You know, cure cancer will give you $5,000. It was these big framed challenges. Sustainable agriculture, the next thing will give you 10,000 euros. We learned very quickly that was a way to get a lot of attention, a lot of people to apply. We also learned that the quality of the applications was much lower. So instead of playing to the big stadium concerts, we deliberately chose to go to much more focused challenges around much smaller problems. You know, the challenge could be for the scientists amongst us, what is the latest gene available to make corn shorter? And by playing to the smaller audience, we found the quality of the applications improved greatly. And we also discovered something we weren't expecting. We were expecting, when we asked our awardees for feedback, we were expecting them all to say, you know, 15,000 euros, fantastic, it paid for, you know, 6 months of a PhD student, or it paid for one field study, or it paid for something. They all said the same thing, yeah, the money's great. What's really interesting is the coaching that we're getting from the experts. So each awardee, along with the money, they get coaching and mentoring from an expert inside R&D, and that's where the value was for these university awardees in the program, was that one-to-one interaction with an expert on a specific topic. And I've chosen Benjamin Zander here, so there are a few musicians in the room. Most of you won't know him, but a fantastic musician. And this is exactly what he does in his excellence classes. He invites in musicians and he coaches them and gives them tips because he's got such an expertise in music to help them improve how they play. So that was one of the things we weren't expecting on this Grants4Ag program. Another program, or the second program we built over the last years, is one, so there's a 4Ag theme here, so bear with me on this. We're still corporate open innovation. This is testing for ag. So what we asked for here is we asked for universities. Oh, who are chemists in the room? I know I met two, so last night. There's a very shy chemist over there. So in terms of chemistry, so we sell chemistry, genetics and data. And in chemistry, we said, well, maybe there's some compounds sitting in research labs that are just collecting dust. We thought, well, couldn't it be great to give something back? And so we said, why don't we make a program where we ask for chemistry to be submitted and we test it? And we give the data and the biological information back to the people that submit the chemistry. It's exactly what we built here with this program. Again, there's a red line, there's a parallel with the previous program. Any IP generated from that data remains the ownership of the partner. They can use it for patents, they can use it for publications, they can use it for what they want. We launched this program 2 years ago. We thought we were doing a great job. We thought we were living up to our promises. And we were very pleased. We hold the world record inside BioCrop Science. I don't even know why I'm proud of this, but I am. The world record at Bio of number of MTAs signed in the shortest period of time. We signed 88 MTAs in 3 months. And we accessed thousands of chemistry, which we then put through our screening and when we tested. We thought we were doing a great job until we went to ask our customers, so our universities, what did you think of the program? And they all said, fantastic, but you're too slow. So all of them wanted us to move at the pace I put here, prestissimo, at an allegro speed, really. Why is it taking 6 months to 1 year for me to get my biological results back? And that led to some very fundamental conversations inside the organization, because that's how long it takes, was the answer. And so the key learning here was around expectation management. Making sure that people understand that, yes, things move slower in a big organization, and yes, it takes 1 year to get the data back. We've learned from that. We're thinking about how to adapt this program in particular to make it generate more value for our target audience. So we're taking on the feedback, we're adjusting and adapting. And this is one of the messages also David gave yesterday, is really to change, is to do something. If it doesn't work, make sure you change it, make sure you improve on it. So that's the second program which we've run in the last few years in order to find new starting points for innovation internally at BioCrop Science. I mentioned before we didn't want to play to an empty audience, so we've spent a lot of time building what we call our ecosystem. There are 3 things that I've chosen here to talk to you about how we've built our ecosystem. The first one is we use a number of external partners for different startup challenges. So we put a question out there and focus our audience, not this time so much on universities like the 2 previous programs, but on startups. And we do what we call startup challenges. So we ask for applications, we use partners, Hello Tomorrow, for those of you who know them, are one of our partners, EIT Food we have as a partner, in order to bring in these startups for our experts to review around certain priority topics. We've also run something which I personally really enjoy, and we call these demo days. Now, a demo day is when we bring in a group of startups, 10, 11 startups, into a site. The objective is twofold, is to expose our employees to new technologies, to entrepreneurs, to new technologies, is to get them involved in the selection process, is to catch people who normally don't care about new technologies, to catch them on the way to the canteen, bring them into the demo day tent, into the startup marketplace, and get them to go through and interact and learn and be inspired by having different startups on our different sites. And the other objective of these demo days is to build partnerships, is to find the right technologies and to find the right people and match them together. And we've had some great successes in Monheim, in Barcelona, across Europe, with these demo days based on these 2 objectives. And the third thing that we've done is social media. So in the beginning, I mean, I'm laughing because I know the story. Let's do this with a show of hands. How many people here care about a corporate open innovation program? That's the response. 1 person, thank you. But that's the response I was expecting. And our target audience didn't care about our corporate open innovation website. They didn't care about our open innovation branded by a crop science LinkedIn page. We learned this. Again, it's not a surprise to most of you here. What we found, however, is when we started putting a face to the program, when we started being personal about it, and when we started talking about the expert topics we were looking for, then people suddenly got interest. So nobody cared about the branded LinkedIn page, but people did start to care when we talked about pesticides and GMOs. And this was a great way in order to help us build our audience with different expert research groups across the world in order to help us access technologies. Like I say, we've done these demo days. That's what I call the active way around questions, the active way of doing innovation scouting. We also have a very strong passive entrance of innovations based on our presence in social media, where people spontaneously contact us with either questions, either a request for support, where we can guide them then to the programs in a timely manner, or simply with an offer of we have an innovation, let's have a chat. So we found by doing this, it's helped us a lot to build this audience that we're speaking to, and to help find quickly innovations that are relevant for us and relevant, most importantly, that are relevant for our experts. Okay, so I mentioned that, and this is a topic I'm very passionate about, I mentioned that there's no point to an innovative society that doesn't understand why innovations are important. What we've done here is something which is very much coupled to our innovation program, innovation and dialogue. We've built these global outreach posts locally in different countries. We call it a life hub ecosystem, but what it is, and there's animation on this slide, so forgive me, I may have to click a few times. But this is all about making sure that our global programs have local outreach in different parts of society. I work in one of these life hubs as part of my time called Life Hub Lyon. What we do in these life hubs is threefold. We make sure that we innovate, so we use all of the programs, we talk about them locally. We make sure we dialogue with society. Now, this is very important. We have in Lyon around 1,500 people that come each year and walk through the doors into the research labs and learn about science, learn about chemistry, biology, biochemistry, microbiology, and learn about how pesticides are discovered. And this is absolutely essential in order to drive innovation, in order to help people comfortable with innovation. We explain to them multiple things while they're visiting us. And of course, you're all welcome here as well. I'll talk to the camera. You're all welcome here to come and visit us at any point in time. If you'd like to come and visit with you and your teams, just contact me and we'll find a slot. And we can show you around our labs and we can talk about innovation together. And there's also a transformation part, which I think was touched on, transformation in the morning yesterday. Transformation of our teams is absolutely essential. So we're trying to change the way they work by adopting external innovations. And we know as well, when you change fundamentally how someone works, you can get pushback. I have concrete examples of that. And by having this space, what we call the Life Hub, we're able to help our local internal teams transform the way they work. We're exposing them to entrepreneurs. We're bringing people through the labs. We're making their work relevant to other people. And we've had some very positive benefits from that. I'd be very happy to pick up any questions you have or discussions later on, or any other things around these points later after the talk. What makes these things so successful? There are 3 points on this slide. Is multiple reasons. The success that we're having locally in France with these life hubs and in the other life hubs around the world. But what we found basically is that in order to innovate, you need to have dialogue. Once you start having dialogue, you can innovate. And then through transformation, you can innovate and dialogue. And it forms this wonderful yin and yang circle that we've built here around innovation, dialogue, and transformation. There's also a QR code. There's a short video with me talking French. It's quite funny for those of you that talk French. So I'm going to come and draw to a close and take any questions if there are any. As I said, I'm a musician. I love innovation. I love music. This is a photo of one of the concerts we gave locally. It is, for those of you that know, it's Bernstein's West Side Story symphonies. Innovation and music have a lot in common. You need to keep your audience alive and attentive, and we did this in this concert. We had a projector screen. We were streaming music in time, streaming video in time with the music we were playing. You need to listen to each other. You need to transform and step outside of your comfort zone. And of all of this, the most important message for me is that it's the people that count. So when you wake up in the morning or when you go for your coffee, have a coffee, talk to somebody new, get out your comfort zone, because it's the people that count that help drive everything that we do. So thank you very much.